Welcome to today's Explainer. So, have you ever agreed to some massive weekend favor that you absolutely did not want to do? Or, maybe taken on extra work late on a Friday just to keep the peace and avoid disappointing someone? Well, we are going to dive straight into a fascinating psychological breakdown of why being highly agreeable in those moments might actually be costing you the respect you deserve. If you've ever felt like your kindness is just taken for granted, or your boundaries are constantly getting overlooked, this analysis is exactly what you need to hear.
It's a tough, honestly, kind of uncomfortable question to look at right up front. Do people actually respect you? Or do they just like that they can control you? We really need to start by dismantling this deeply ingrained illusion. You see, many of us operate on this core belief that constantly saying yes to everything, just bending over backwards to accommodate others, is the ultimate path to earning admiration. We think, hey, accommodation equals value, right? But as we unpack the psychology here, we're going to see that human dynamics work quite differently.
So let's jump into Section 1, the paradox of respect.
The big thing here is that so many people completely confuse obedience with admiration. Now, obedience is simply doing what you're told, often out of fear, maybe a desire to fit in, or sheer convenience. You do it just to avoid rocking the boat, right? But admiration, that represents genuine, deep respect. Someone can easily obey you because they want to avoid a fight, but they might not actually respect you at all. And conversely, and I think this is the truly powerful part of human psychology, someone can fiercely disagree with you, challenge your ideas, and flat out refuse your requests while still holding you in the highest possible regard. Because respect isn't about mere compliance, it's about recognizing the strength of another person's character.
Moving on to Section 2. Control is not respect.
I want you to think deeply about the actual mechanics of control in any relationship. Obedience creates total predictability. And let's face it, predictability makes other people feel incredibly comfortable. When they know you're always going to say yes, you basically become a utility to them, a convenient tool. But when you refuse to be controlled, you break that comfortable pattern. You suddenly become unpredictable. And that very unpredictability, your flat refusal to just bend to their will, actually demands psychological respect. It strips away their comfort and forces them into a space of growth. It requires them to actually negotiate with you as an equal, rather than just managing you like an asset.
Which brings us to Section 3, the cost of always agreeing. There's a rapid, inevitable downward spiral to constant agreement, and it usually happens in 3 distinct stages. First, saying yes just becomes the baseline expectation. It's no longer viewed as a nice favor, it's viewed as your duty. Next, because you never push back or offer a differing viewpoint, people actually stop valuing your input entirely. Why would anyone ask for your thoughts if they know you're just going to rubber stamp whatever proposal's on the table? And finally, your time is taken completely for granted. It's a literal fast track to becoming the office doormat or that friend who is always used but never supported. Constantly making yourself available trains people to devalue your time, your thoughts, and your very presence.
All right, let's look at Section 4, the power of boundaries. So, reversing this kind of toxic dynamic starts with a single, incredibly powerful act, simply saying no when necessary. This one little word establishes a clear, undeniable boundary, and once that boundary is set, you instantly project deep self-respect. People definitely notice when you stop bending. And here is the real magic in this psychological sequence. Because you clearly respect yourself, you automatically force others to rewrite their rules of engagement with you. They literally can no longer run roughshod over your schedule. You dictate the terms of your own life, which totally shifts how they are forced to treat you moving forward.
Because what is true self-respect? It's knowing your values and refusing to compromise them for temporary acceptance. It is so tempting to trade a little bit of our integrity just to make an awkward social situation go away, right? Or to get a quick hit of approval from a boss or a friend. But listen, the most respected individuals in any room are rarely the most agreeable ones. They are the people who know exactly who they are, what they stand for, and they absolutely refuse to trade their core values for a smooth afternoon. They prioritize their long-term self-worth way over short-term harmony.
Let's transition to Section 5, authenticity over approval.
This is crucial to remember. Confidence comes from authenticity, not approval. If you lose yourself in the relentless pursuit of pleasing everyone, if you shift your personality to match whatever room you happen to walk into, will people instinctively sense it? We all have this finely tuned built-in radar for people-pleasing. If your confidence relies entirely on head nods and smiles from others, it is incredibly fragile. It can shatter the second someone criticizes you. But confidence born from true authenticity, From standing firmly in your own beliefs regardless of the audience, now that is rock solid.
I want you to consider this deeply for a second. Yes creates comfort, while no creates conflict. But conflict is sometimes necessary for growth. Think about it. Just like a muscle needs the friction of heavy weights to tear and grow stronger, relationships require healthy friction to actually deepen. It's fascinating too, because the very people who outwardly complain about your newly established boundaries, they often secretly admire them. Because saying no requires a level of courage most people genuinely struggle to find. By introducing healthy conflict, you aren't destroying a relationship. You are actually demanding that it matures.
And that brings us to our final section. Section 6, becoming impossible to control.
There is a brutal, undeniable math to self-worth. Every single time you abandon your values just to keep others happy, you lose a fraction of your self-respect. It slowly chips away at your soul. And since self-respect is the absolute bedrock of confidence, well, your confidence eventually crumbles right beneath you. You have to realize that doing the hard, right thing builds strong character, and character outlasts temporary popularity every single time. Chasing acceptance is like being on a never-ending treadmill. Building your character, though, that is constructing a fortress.
Now, the ultimate goal here isn't to flip the script and just start controlling everyone around you. No, the goal is to become impossible to control. When you really internalize this truth, people begin seeing you entirely differently. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest, or the most demanding, or the one barking orders. The strongest person is simply the one standing so firmly in their own autonomy that they just cannot be manipulated. Not by praise, not by guilt, and definitely not by pressure.
Because real respect begins the very moment you stop trading your values for approval. Learning to stand firmly on your own principles, refusing to bend your boundaries just to keep a false peace, is absolutely one of the most valuable, transformative skills you will ever develop in your lifetime. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to consider today. What core values are you currently trading for a little bit of approval? And what incredible things would happen if you simply stopped? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep standing strong, and I'll see you in the next explainer.